Hello FPL managers, today we discuss some players to avoid for the upcoming Premier League season. In today's video we have a look at 5 players that we think could be worthwhile avoiding based on poor underlying stats or not the most ideal upcoming fixtures. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to show support for the channel as we are trying to hit 8k subs by the start of the new season, and with that being said, let's get into the video. Taking a look at the first player, it's Darwin Nunez. Nunez is coming in as a £9 million forward for Liverpool this season with a 15% ownership, which does currently make him the 5th highest owned forward. Of course, Liverpool have strong fixtures to start the season as well, facing Fulham, Crystal Palace, Manchester United and Bournemouth. Furthermore, Nunez's underlying stats in the 2021/22 season were very good in the Portuguese league, with the expected score involvements per 90 of 0.99. Through adding up his goals and assists across the year, plus accounting for starting minutes and bonus points, we have come to calculate that his FPL points per 90 would have been around a 7.9. Obviously this is not entirely accurate, but it does provide a decent indication of the form that he was in. With that being said, the Premier League is obviously significantly harder than the Portuguese league, and it could take him time to adjust to Liverpool's system. Especially since he's a forward as well, he's not going to be getting those extra points for clean sheets and goals. That's why I do think at the moment £9 million for a forward of his experience in the Premier League is probably not worth the money. Also, taking a look around the Liverpool attack, Luis Diaz at £8 million definitely looks to be better value than him, and I wouldn't really be doubling up on Diaz and Nunez, so if you could go for one, I'd definitely be looking at Diaz. He did have this season to adjust to the Premier League last year and did prove himself at this level, and considering that he gets the extra points for being a midfielder and is £1 million cheaper, he is definitely better value. If I was to go for a Liverpool triple up coming into the new season, it would most likely be Trent, Salah and Diaz, which will of course mean Nunez is left out. Moving on to the second player to avoid, it is Bukayo Saka. This one may come as a surprise to some of you, but looking at his underlying stats in comparison to other £8 million players last season, he didn't rank very well. Arsenal have a good start to the season in terms of their fixtures, facing Crystal Palace, Leicester, Bournemouth and Fulham, but I do think taking a deeper look at Saka's underlying stats, he doesn't prove to be the best value for his price. He is of course coming in at £8 million and is a fairly high owned player with a 17.5% ownership currently. This does make him the 7th highest owned midfielder in FPL at the moment, with only Salah, Diaz, Son, Neto, Guimaraes and Coutinho ranking above him. Looking at his underlying stats, his XG per 90 was just 0.28 and his XA per 90 just 0.2. Therefore, taking a look at his expected FPL points per 90 at just 5.17, this doesn't compare very well to other players at his price. When looking at all 12 £8 million players this year in FPL, Saka's expected FPL points per 90 does rank 10th amongst all players, as well as his XG. With the likes of Mahrez, Diaz, Foden, Jesus, Mason Mount, Havertz, Maddison, Kulusevski and Firmino all ranking higher than him in expected FPL points per 90, he's probably not the best player at this price. Furthermore, most of these players do have a lower ownership than Bukayo Saka, so if you are looking for a better differential at this price, all those players are good picks. Despite having very low expected stats though, his actual involvements per 90 was sitting at 0.6, which did rank fairly high for players of his price, which does indicate that he is taking his chances, but across a whole season you would expect a player to mean revert back down to his expected points. Furthermore, if you are looking for better options than Arsenal attack, I do like Jesus in the same team at £8 million as a forward, and also Martinelli at £6 million in the midfield could provide a better value. Progressing on to the third player, this one is Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen had an immense season last year in FPL, racking up over 200 total points, which has seen him get a significant price rise up to £8.5 million. He did start last season at £6.5 million, which does mean his price rose £2 million coming into the new year. Despite this new price increase though, his ownership is still sitting at around 10%, which is fairly high. Looking at West Ham's opening fixtures now, they face Manchester City at home in Game Week 1, which is of course a difficult fixture, then face Forest away in Game Week 2, which is decent, but I do think Brighton at home and Villa away in Game Weeks 3 and 4 respectively are also fairly tough. Both these sides did rank fairly highly last year for their clean sheets, so I do think over the first 4 game weeks the West Ham assets could be worthwhile avoiding. Looking at Bowen's underlying stats, he significantly outperformed his expected stats, as his XG per 90 was just 0.34, which did rank 31st amongst all players that played at least 800 minutes last season. His expected assist stat doesn't get much better at just 0.15, and his expected FPL points per 90 was just 5.28. So despite only having the 41st highest expected FPL points per 90, he is the 12th most expensive player in FPL this year. So as far as value goes, I do believe £8.5 million is significantly overpriced for the likes of Jarrod Bowen. Glancing over at the fourth player now, this one is WardProwse. The Southampton midfielder is coming in at £6.5 million this year, with a similar ownership to the likes of Jarrod Bowen at 10%. Southampton have some very difficult fixtures to start the new season, with Spurs, Leeds, Leicester and Manchester United as their first 4 opponents. Taking a quick look over at WardProwse's stats last year, he scored 159 total points with 10 goals and 5 assists, ranking amongst the top midfielders. In fact, he was the 9th highest scoring midfielder, only 4 points behind the likes of Raheem Sterling. Despite outscoring the likes of Bernardo, Bruno Fernandes and Wilfried Zaha in FPL, his underlying stats aren't very promising. Most of his goals and assists do come from free kicks and corners, which he of course is very good at, but it isn't the most sustainable form of FPL points. Also, these can come at random across the whole season, so it's difficult to predict when he's coming into good form or is in a good point scoring run. Speaking of these numbers, his XG per 90 is just 0.14 and his XA per 90 just 0.16. Therefore, he has a very low expected FPL points per 90 of just 4.08, but did actually return 0.42 involvements per 90. So I do think for £6.5 million, I would be looking towards the likes of Rashford at the same price, who probably is going to provide more joy for his owners this season. Now looking at the final option, it's Dominic CalvertLewin. CalvertLewin is coming in at £8 million this year, and his price has been untouched as of last season, still positioned as a forward as well. CalvertLewin is arguably one of the worst value players in FPL this season, as despite playing only a handful of games, his price has not decreased. Also, with the departure of Richarlison at Everton attack as well, there's no way CalvertLewin is getting as much service as he was last season, and he also doesn't have another strike partner to give the ball off to. CalvertLewin faces Chelsea at home in the first week, and still has some fairly tricky fixtures after that as well, as I do believe Villa away and Brentford away in game weeks 2 and 4 are quite difficult from an attacking standpoint. Last season's underlying stats weren't also the most impressive either, as he had an XG per 90 of 0.39 and an XA per 90 of just 0.12. This provided him with an expected FPL points per 90 of just under 5 and had an involvements per 90 of just under 0.5. So if you are looking for better £8 million forwards, I will be looking to the likes of Gabriel Jesus, who has some excellent starting fixtures, has made a great start in pre-season and had an excellent year last year. Also, the likes of Ivan Toney at £1 million cheaper put up 12 goals in his first Premier League season, plus Brentford have some promising fixtures in the upcoming 5 game weeks. Thanks for watching today's video. If you guys want to become a channel member, then click the join button down below and get featured on the members board at the end of the videos, just like Philip Ash here. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to show support for the channel and click the notification bell. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.